Hi everyone. It's been a very long time, and I have to say that I am rather nervous today. And I'm also nervous that my internet connection keeps going in and out, so I'm hoping that my first live in a long time doesn't just suddenly sort of cut out. My heart's beating, and it feels like the first time, almost the first time when I did my first live when I cried because I was so scared. It's really weird to have all the lights on me as well, so bear with me while I just pause a little bit and just gather myself. So, how is everybody? And I wanted to say welcome to all the new followers of Kelly Martin Speaks. And it's been so long because so much has happened. I won't go totally into it because I want to get really into the purpose of this live today. But as many of you know, I started Peace Within Radio in April, I think it was, April the 1st. Yeah, it was Fool's Day. And it did really well, and we managed to reach over 4,000 people worldwide in about 3 months. And that was a mental health and music station. And then I had to close the station down because it was just too much for me as one person. It was really, really overwhelming. And I closed the station down on June the 30th. And I've been going through a real big journey in my life of not knowing who I am again. It's being in the void. Being in the void can be quite scary. And I've been through many voids in my life. I'm just going to move my microphone back a little bit. And being in the void can make you feel kind of life's really uncertain. And life is uncertain anyway, but when you're in a place where you've ended something big, be it a business, a relationship, a project that you've been dreaming about, anything that you've really been invested in, and then it's suddenly not there, it can leave such a gaping kind of hole that the human ego really wants to fill. And we try and fill it with desires, and we try and control the uncontrollable. We try and make certain uncertainty, and this is what being in the void and being in the gap is all about. It's not about filling that space with lots of things and lots of ideas and lots of doing, and it's not about trying to control the fears that arise from not knowing. So this video is as much for me as it is for anyone that relates to this, and I want to talk about desire. Now, many years ago, I was really into the law of attraction and creating your reality. I did it for a very long time. And back then, I got really lost in it. I got swallowed up in it. I would do positive affirmations in the mirror, I would visualize, and it got to the point where I wasn't here at all. I would be walking along the street in my local area, and I would imagine I was walking along a street in sort of New Zealand traveling. It was so deep, this need to try and mold my reality into what I wanted it to be. And I've moved on from that, and I let it go because I found it really hurting me in many ways, because I suffer from depression sometimes and mental health issues. It's very easy to grab onto something because we feel like if we just grab onto something, it will stop us feeling all the pain. So those of you that are new to the page will know that I have gone through a long journey of realizing I really need to face and embrace whatever arises that goes from the darkness of depression, fear, sadness, sorrow, and also joy and love and peace, and recognizing that when we hold on to sadness and sorrow, we can equally hold on to joy and peace and try and like kind of grip onto these things that we think we should be feeling right now. Now, in the middle of this void right now, there's desires arising, real desires for what I would like in my life. And I was talking to somebody recently who made me aware that I was very good at allowing into my life very small, little, meager little things. Like I could allow into my life a cup of coffee or a piece of cake in a coffee shop. But I would never allow into my life the bigger things. Say, for example, you wanted a big relationship that was the love of your life, or you wanted a house of your own, maybe you're renting like I am. And I would never allow those things in. And the reason I stopped dreaming for these bigger things was because I got so enmeshed in that create your reality that I kind of, my inner pendulum swung too far to trying to control, and then I swung too far to not even allowing myself to desire anything. And it can be painful to desire too much and be so attached, and to desire nothing, because we're human and we have egos. We naturally desire. This is how the world changes. This is how things grow and evolve. This is how creations happen. This is how, politics, world changes, how we create new ideas and engineer stuff into this world. This all comes from this desire for new and creation. So how do we get that balance of letting go of the desires so much that we feel kind of hopeless, to allowing the desires but not to the point where we are fearing that we're not going to receive them, and we're trying so hard to manifest them that too becomes painful. Now, I read one of my oracle cards, I think it was this morning, and it literally said to me, it was perfect because I knew I was going to do something like this today, and it said, desire does not have to be a hindrance on the path. It can show us our passions and help us find our purpose. But I was talking to my friend Michael about attachment, and it's when we become so attached to the desires that the pain and the suffering happens. And I'm not saying in this video you stop desiring, you just sort of go along your life, but it's all about being in the present moment. And I realize how cliched that is nowadays, and I imagine you might have heard a lot of people say you've got to be in the present moment, but how many of us truly listen and absorb that? And on my wall I've got pictures of things that I would like in my life, and at one point in this void I was really desperately clinging to that picture. And something in me just sort of sunk, and I felt so sad, and this doubt crept in, and I thought, well, that's not going to happen. How can I dream for that? And it was like this voice came in and it just said, what have you got right now? What is here in your life that you can truly embrace without being obsessed about that thing in the future that you think you need? Be it, for me, it could be a house of my own. For you, it could be good health. It could be a loving relationship. But if we're always focusing on the lack of that, it's so painful to experience. If we're thinking that one person or a set of circumstances is going to make us feel happy or contented, as painful as it feels to me, and maybe you too, it's not going to happen. That's not how it works. And the way forward is actually here and now, and we don't need to force life to become what we imagine it should be. And that is the hard thing when we've got the egos who want everything. We want new, or we're suffering in some way in our life. We obviously would be yearning for something better. But are we able to see life as it is? Can we show up in this very moment and look around and appreciate just the smallest things in our life? Is there a fear that if we don't get that thing, that is in the future, that here is not enough. And are we ever fully in the now, being here to actually recognize that this is enough? I think many of us are not. We might kid ourselves that we might say, oh yeah, I'm in the now, I'm in the moment. But truly, if we are in the moment, we don't desire so much. It's one of the teachers I follow called Osho, and I find him a bit hard sometimes. He's got really good wisdom, but he can be really intense. And he basically said that if you desire, you're not in the now. Because basically everything that is meant to be in your life, to flow through your life, comes from the now. And in a way, we've got to let life move us instead of trying to move life. And that's a big, big lesson for me too. We've got to show up and we've got to be present. And I'm not saying you stop focusing on your desires. I think it's human. We've got desires. And if we go the other end like I did, where I let go of all my dreams and desires, that can be really painful too. So you could do small things still. You can be here and see what's here. What can you accept? What can you appreciate? And you can allow yourself just small moments in your day and just time yourself, say 5 or 10 minutes, and you allow yourself, that's the only amount of time you're going to allow yourself to dream about things that you want. And once you've done that, you drop it. And if you don't do visualization or dreaming, if you pray, you could simply pray that your path is clear and true, and that you will have the courage to act when you need to on whatever it is that is coming into your heart that wants to draw you into something in life. And maybe have patience that you can, I guess, serve love in a way. And it's really challenging to do that, and I totally understand. When I lived in a very, very small flat in Gloucester in the UK, it was so small that me and my best friend shared one room. And we had a really tiny kitchen, was probably no bigger than my little tiny office. And I went through a really hard depression back then, and this is when I got into the law of attraction. But there came a point where I realised I've got to just accept where I am and recognise that where I am is where I'm meant to be, because if I was meant to be somewhere else, I would be. So we can do small things in the now that just helps us enjoy where we are. I would take myself out for coffee, go for walks in nature, and I'd embrace where I lived because it was where I was living, and it was what it is. It is what it is. And I feel that by doing that, where I'm living now, it came in the most unexpected way. It wasn't from me kind of envisioning or desiring it really like intensely and attaching to it. It was simply, it was a part of a need. I was being evicted from my home, and there was so much going on, and I had nothing I could control at the time. And this home arrived. It wasn't the perfect home. It wasn't a place where I would have liked to have chosen to live, but it was where life chose for me to live at this time, and I have gained and grown so much in this house. So I'm feeling a little bit emotional talking about this, because it's really bringing home to me that we can have these dreams and these desires, and we must not beat ourselves up for having dreams and desires, and to accept that maybe we have doubts, maybe we are clinging to those desires, and just trust that life will bring us what we need, regardless of whether we're doubting, regardless of whether we're expecting disappointment. To appreciate that who we are and who we're becoming is perfectly in the flow. And even when we feel sad, that's okay. My friend told me the other day, and I was going through a bit of a tough time, and I was having a lot of self-judgments and judgments of him, and I felt really bad for having these feelings and these thoughts. And he gave me absolute permission to be authentic with how I thought. And I said some things that I thought were pretty horrible. And he helped me say, well, for example, I don't like XYZ and it's really painful right now. And that's okay. And by verbalizing my inner world outwards and ending it with, and that's okay, it was like this freedom happened. It's okay that I'm desiring. It's okay that sometimes I'm attaching to those desires. It's okay that I want more joy and more peace. It's okay that sometimes I cling on to sadness and sorrow as a comfort zone because that's what I've always known. It's okay. And I think we fight with our feelings and our desires and whatever they are. We fight against them thinking, well, I shouldn't be thinking this. I shouldn't be feeling this. I wish it would just go away. But the fact is, you are thinking this, you are feeling this, and that's okay. And thank you for watching, Andy. Hi, Andy. And whoever else watches on the catch up. I feel really strange doing my first live since I think May. And I'm hoping that my internet connection has stayed. And I really sincerely hope for you that you're able to allow your humanity, whatever feelings come up for you, allow your desires, but you are able to just give yourself a little small moment in your day to think about those desires and just drop them. And then focus on the here and now. And that way you will not suffer so much, and that way you will not yearn so much. It's all about trust, and trust isn't easy. You know, it's all about trusting life. Instead of trying to understand it, I think that's the problem. We try and analyze why things aren't working, why they're doing this, why they're doing that, instead of just trusting. You know, these circumstances are here right now, and that's okay. I haven't got what I want right now, and that's okay. Or I have got what I want right now, and I want more, and that's okay. I'm feeling sad, and that's okay. I'm feeling really scared right now and really judgmental of other people, and that's okay. So I hope you take this with you for your day, and I'll be back next Wednesday. I'm going to try and do every Wednesday at 9 a.m. UK